Hi, I'm Gary with Gary Lundgren Crafts. In this episode I'm going to make some balancing wine bottle holders. And the bottle balancer will balance like that, standing on the table surface and just kind of balancing it. The way to adjust the balance is kind of adjusting the length back and forth on the neck until you strike a good balance where it stays in place. And this is the style I'll be doing. It's the bottle shaped one. I have a number of templates that I made for these bottles and bottle balancers, and as you can see some of my notes here, these are approximately 12 inches long, and on the back side of this, when I cut it, like this one here, I cut a 45-degree angle. The diameter of the hole is a 1.5 inch diameter. And then I round over the edges on everything with a router to make the edges softer. Now this particular one is made out of a plywood. The others I'm going to be making out of other kinds of wood. Like I got some black walnut, I've got some cherry, and got some maple too. I make those patterns out of 1/4 inch hardboard or MDF, whatever you want to call it. And this is a paper cutout that I've got. I'll cut these shapes out and connect these at those double lines because I can't fit the full length of a bottle on a 8.5 sheet of paper. Then it shows my angle on the back side there. And the hole is 1.5 inch diameter. And it's like an overall length of 12 inches. And some of the other notes there for you. Now this is my pattern for creating the templates. Then the templates I adhere to the piece I'm going to cut out. Cut it out to rough shape on the bandsaw, and then I'll smooth it out on a spindle sander. So on this example here, you can see how it balances itself. This is the one I was showing you, I was holding in my hands. I can stand it up and set it like that to store it. A sticker thing I've got on there is something I had bought at one of those Michael's craft stores or something like that. They have some stickers that you can put on things. Okay, so here is a piece of black walnut that I've planed down to about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, it's just under 4 inches, which that's a good width for that wine bottle shaped balancer that I'm going to make, because that's 3 inches wide actually. So I'm going to cut this at 12 inches. Actually I'm going to go about 13. So I can trim off some of the rough edge here. In black walnut I'm using like a white pencil. And I'll mark that up. Raise up the saw blade. This is going to be a rough cut approximation for it. Okay, so that gives me a clean edge on this end here. So I'm going to go from there and cut it at 12 inches. And these edges here, are not jointed, so it doesn't have to be a perfect square. Relatively square, because this is going to be cut out in a shape anyways, so nothing really has to be perfectly square on that. Now on the back end, one end, I'm going to cut it at a 45-degree angle there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now before I cut the shape out. because later on, once it's cut out to the shape, it might be kind of difficult to keep that in a steady place. I'll double check with my angle here to make sure I've got a 45-degree going. Also to make sure it's got enough height here to cut through. Maybe a little bit tad higher. There we go. Also, the center of the hole here is 7 inches from the bottom edge. And I've got this to line up the bottom edge there. I'm just going to kind of do it like that, hold it, and then I'm going to trace around this with the white pencil. There, I've got my shape in the block here. So I'll go to the bandsaw now and cut this out roughly. And actually before I go to the bandsaw, I'm going to drill out this hole to 1.5 inches. Then I'll go to the bandsaw and cut this out roughly, and then I'll use my oscillating sander to smooth up all the edges. Okay, in the middle of this hole here, I just drew some lines to approximate the center there. It looks pretty close. Then I'm just using a 1.5 inch hole saw here. And I'll get that kind of centered on there. And then we'll drill through it. Looks to be coming out pretty good. Pretty well centered hole. And we have our hole. Now I can go to the bandsaw and cut out the rest of the shape. Okay, I've changed out and put in a 1/4 inch blade in my bandsaw. What I'll do is cut out these lines, roughly staying outside the line, so I'm not cutting too close, and then I'll finesse it on the spindle sander. Okay, so this is kind of roughly cut straight off the bandsaw. Let's just adjusting the bottle here a little bit, and we strike a balance. Okay, here I shall smooth out the side edges, get things rounded out. Okay, so here now I've changed out to a spindle that I can fit this over and sand out the inside of that hole. This stand here is a flip-top stand that I built based on some ideas I got off of YouTube. You can see on the bottom side there I've got my planer. Top right now is the oscillating sander. It all just flips around, give me the tool I want to work with. I'll probably do a video review on this sometime in the future. As I've already built it, I can't do a build video. Hey, I'm trying to hold a light here steady, but set up my router here and I raised the bit so that it barely clears the edge of the board. Right now it looks like there's a bit of a gap. But let's see if I hold the board steady. You can see just barely kisses on that. Maybe kind of hard to see in this video, but now in this I'm using a 1/4 inch round over bit. Since it's a 3/4 inch piece of wood, I'm going to be taking off 3/4 round over on each side. So 3/8 I'm afraid would be a little bit too much. So I'm going with a 1/4 inch round over. Okay, to make it safe here, I used a starter pin here to help me get started on this. And with just a little bit of sanding and then some finish, and you've got a finished product. Okay, so here we have it. Just kind of adjusted this in and out a little bit further in, and you strike a balance. That holds pretty good. Doesn't fall over very easily. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and you can learn some things to do and make a bunch of these, maybe make them 10 at a time or something like that to get your best productivity out of that. Make great gifts for people, and if you want to sell them, depending on your materials and so forth and your time, I'm guessing you'll probably sell these in a range of about $12 to $18 a piece. Anyways, give me a like if you like this, and subscribe and see some more of my future productions as they come out. Thank you.